So, I don't know if you can believe it or not, but Moby went and decided to start a podcast. So I thought it would be funny to watch it and bully him because it's Moby. Let's go ahead and check out the trailer.
Hello everyone, it's Billy Corgan here.
Well, I believe I owe Moby an apology. It is, in fact, so much worse. It's Billy Corgan.
And welcome to my new show, The Magnificent Others.
I'm sorry, but how do you do that pose? I mean, I'm trying it over here. I'm pretty much doing a limbo.
Came before Lady Gaga, so I don't know how I could be the original Lady anybody. So let's get real here.
The Magnificent Others is a long-form show where we explore with great artists and musicians anybody I truly admire. I had the Kiss poster on my wall before I even heard a note of Kiss.
I'm so sorry.
To take you into their inner story about how they got to be so great.
I lived with Tim Leary. He would do Friday experiments on us.
Okay, look. I like Ministry as much as the next guy, which means about 2.5 albums worth, right? However, Billy, these are supposed to be the highlights, the compelling introductory clips that are going to garner you an audience. You do realize that, right? Listen, who am I kidding? Let's just jump right into the episode.
It's actually too small to introduce you as the man who needs no introduction.
Oh,
You're bigger than that.
Oh,
You're bigger than that.
thank you.
Flattery is going to get Billy very far in this interview. Or so he thinks. Gene has no problem taking all these compliments, but to expect reciprocation is to expect anything at all from Gene.
Let's start here.
How about Dodger Stadium when I saw you backstage?
That's
a card.
That's card 3. You're jumping ahead of my narrative.
I'm so sorry.
Poor Gene. He just wanted to sit and have a conversation on this conversational show. But no, Billy's gonna stick to the cards.
I don't mind. If you want to interview me, I'm more than happy to do that.
Sure, how much?
10 grand? 1 hour?
It seems that only about 22 seconds into his podcast, Billy is altogether over the notion of podcasting and would rather be interviewed by Gene. But of course, he can't afford Gene's rates.
For you to go make an appearance at someone's house, what would it cost a fan at this point?
It depends how long. But they have paid $250.
Yeah,
Yep.
I believe it. You're worth it. That's part of what's in here, about how you're worth it.
Whoa, Billy, hey man, hey. You got some shit on your nose.
I know you love your band, and I know you love your band's history, and we will, of course, get into that. And you're not a person in my estimation. I've been watching you on television since I was a little kid, since about 1976, I think.
How old are you?
57?
74.
Wow. I mean, my jaw is on the floor. Does it really get any more disrespectful than being called a baby straight to your face by your hero, who then pantomimes, well, not even pantomimes, just full on starts sucking his thumb at you? And I mean, after all the empty compliments you've given him. And listen, I know it doesn't help that you have that haircut and those big fat baby cheeks. I gotta give Gene a point here.
But, you play Gene Simmons on television for a living, and you've been great at it. And I remember seeing you, Donahue, or whatever I would see you on, and, it'd be sort of Mike Douglas.
Donahue.
Weren't you on Donahue?
Mike Douglas, oh my God.
I know you're on Mike Douglas.
They don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, I'm 57, right?
I mean, you really can't make this up. So, Billy makes this boomer statement about Donahue and, gay actor Michael Douglas. And Gene's a little bit concerned about him alienating the younger audience with his 85-year-old references. So, Billy's left with no choice but to prove that he's young and hip by going to suck his thumb. He didn't quite get it in all the way, though, which just goes to show that this baby still has some room for improvement.
I was one of those classic Jews who simply refused to spend any money and lived at home until I was with my mother, till I was 20. I mean, we were playing Anaheim Stadium, headlining. It happened very fast for the band.
Yeah.
And I was living at my mom's house. That's how you know Jesus was Jewish. He lived with his mother until he was 33 years old. He thought his mother was a virgin. You know, all that stuff.
Now, if you live in your mother's basement in your mid-30s and frequently contemplate the muliebrity of her love life, you might be an Ashkenazi.
So you're on stage, it's the last show. Like, does it hit you? Like, are you like, I'm glad it's over, it's been amazing, I'm alive?
You know, it's the hard-hitting journalistic questions like that keep me coming back as a tuned-in and loving viewer of The Magnificent Others.
No, not glad. It's funny, there's a coin has two different sides. There's sadness and there's pride. There's the sadness of, you know, at some point you got to leave mom and dad and go off on the next chapter of the journey of life. On the other hand, you're proud that four knuckleheads off the streets of New York with no resume, no experience, no right to be here, no right to wear higher heels and more makeup than your mommy ever wore, were given a chance to make
You did
truckloads of money and chicks. And,
But you did. But look, money and success has always been part of the Kiss story.
Billy using code words like success to cover Gene's rather gross predilection for young women will only backfire in Billy's baby boomer face, because Gene's gonna make it continually apparent of his love of success.
Remember seeing the Beatles on TV, and I was awestruck by the idea that you could look different, because I never saw guys who were sort of trim and small like that, you know, very...
Hey, Gene, I believe the word you're looking for is British.
feminine.
Right.
Moving in a kind of because guys were...
Right, especially 50s New York, right?
Yeah, you had to walk, you had to have your guy thing on when you walk down the street. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? You know, there's that street thing. It's culture. And all of a sudden you go, all right, yeah, it's a bit of all right, yeah, all right. You know, they're friendly and almost feminine with the haircuts. And I had never seen anything like that. And I remember thinking they looked silly. And my mother walked in and told me how silly they looked. And precisely at that moment, a singularity hit me. That's when I knew they were cool.
Okay, let me get this straight. You walked around New York with your guy thing on, then you discovered the femininity of the Beatles, and now you're dressing in more makeup and higher heels than our mothers have any business wearing. Okay, Gene, that checks out.
It's worth pointing out, you know, you ended the show with the avatars. That's the word I would use, right?
Well, in all fairness, just a hint of it. The way you see a sketch on a piece of paper of what the 50-story skyscraper is going to look like.
This is honestly one of my favorite parts of the entire episode. I just love the pretentiousness and snobbery on display here. I mean, you can really tell that Gene is marketing a product now and no longer just having a conversation, just because of his word choice here. I mean, the extreme metaphor that's going on. We just gave them a little taste of what's to come, like when an avant-garde chef serves a single ice cube on a dinner tray and insists that you can taste the concept of winter. I mean, come on, Gene, what the f***?
It's beyond. The future of entertainment is here. AI does exist. You can sit down.
You know, I was worried that AI, like the Holocaust, global warming, 9/11, the moon landing, and the ghost of Kiev, were just fake globalist psyops. So, for helping me to curb my mental handicaps, I'm gonna give you another point, Gene.
to me, you're a visionary in many ways, but so give me your vision, because we all know this is going to work, right? Like, kids are going to go see Virtual Kiss.
It doesn't matter if you think it will or if you think it won't. The future is here.
No, but that's what I'm saying is, you see it, and you're also meeting the people that are going to create it with you.
Already being done.
Okay, understood. So I'm saying is,
It really is very impressive to me how Gene is no-selling each one of Billy's arguments here, even though the arguments are in Gene's favor. It's just he's so deep into haggling mode right now, trying to push these Kiss avatars onto Billy's podcast audience, that regardless of what Billy is going to say, Gene is going to let him know that it doesn't matter. The impossible is possible. It's already been done.
what does that look like in 10 years? Are people going just as many shows with virtual avatars as they are live concerts? Or how do you balance that in your
All
mind?
of it will coexist, and all of it will depend on the individuality of the experience. There are some people, if you've never met the Dalai Lama, you would want to be in His Holiness's presence. I've met the man, and obviously seen him in media. That's not the same thing as being in the same room.
You know, Gene, if you want to be known as the rock star who's hanging out with the, His Holiness, the tongue sucker, you know what, man, live your life, but, I think you might lose a couple of advertisers.
And the back and forth. But I will tell you that AI and avatars and so on are, even by today's technological standards, are about as close to reality as you can ever imagine. So I'll give you a sense of what I've experienced. So most people, young people especially, have had the goggles on where you're falling off a cliff and all of a sudden you actually feel like gravity's gone, and so your senses aren't working anymore. So that's a mind fuck, as they say. Now imagine if you weren't wearing the glasses. Your sense of the scale of things and what's happening, and you will not, when you're in a controlled environment. Mm-hmm. And they're trying different variations of it. Have you been to the big sphere in Vegas?
Not yet, but I've seen a lot of the clips.
Well, it's
Okay, look, the last thing I want to do is start telling tales out of school, but I speculate that Billy is looking particularly salty at this inquiry because he couldn't get a Pumpkins residency there. Why would we book the Pumpkins? We could have you too.
if you've been to the Sphere in Las Vegas, it's a wonderful, all of a sudden you're on the moon and everything, but you don't lose yourself. This is difficult to describe in the same way that when you're speaking to a Neanderthal, and that's actually the way you pronounce the word, it's not Neanderthal, even though it's spelled with a TH.
I learned something today.
Neanderthal, when you're speaking to a Neanderthal, if you can have a common language, and you're saying, okay, so I'm going to get in my jet, and I'm going to be, 40, 50,000 feet above the earth, enough so I can see the curvature. The words, even though he understands the words, he just couldn't fathom it. So when I start to explain to people what I've seen, what I've experienced, you understand the words, but you have no idea how to say it. You will be blown away.
Gene, the king of the cha-ching strikes again, wearing his money bag embroidered crown, living a lifestyle far too advanced to even begin to describe to a lowly Neanderthal peon like Boomer Baby Billy. Let's give him another point.
Obviously, there's the business, and there were a lot of headlines about what you guys got to sell your likeness, and I'm interested in that, but I'm actually...
The numbers are not accurate.
I'm impressed either way, but...
God bless.
Oh my god, that is too rich. No pun intended, of course, but to just see Billy try and curb his jealousy in the face of Gene's hundreds of millions of dollars it's so good.
I don't suffer fools lightly, or whatever that phrase meant, which is, all my life I've heard, hippies, well-intentioned though they may be, I just want enough money to get by. I said, I'll make a deal with you. Any dollar you make that you don't think you need, please give me, because that's going to make me happier. I will never have enough money, power, or anything else, because that's what life is about.
The opulent and imperial Cha-Ching King Gene has shared with us his very Goyim life philosophy, and he didn't even charge us nobodies a fee to hear it. Oh, your majesty, you are far too kind, far too benevolent.
But to persist at my point,
Your point, Bill. It's time to play America's favorite Alogging game. This set is ass. Today we're looking at your terrible podcast set and questionable use of furniture. From a pillow that's holding a candle to a book of Monet sitting on your couch that Gene keeps mistakenly looking at because he thinks it says money. Thanks for keeping some bronze herons on that serving tray in the right corner. It's so cool. I'm glad the set designer thought meshing the Great Gatsby with the Palace of Oz would be a suitable motif for your bald f***ing head. Now let's get back.
is it important to you that what Kiss becomes in its posthumous form
Yeah,
is just
that's a big word like gymnasium.
Honestly, that is such a funny takedown. I'm going to start incorporating it into my everyday life.
it might be posthumous,
That's correct.
Neanderthal.
Hey, Chucklehead, why don't you save the jokes for those of us who have fathers?
In Kiss's posthumous form, is it important for you that the band is just as significant in this new...
No.
Okay.
God, Gene is not giving him an inch, a single inch, which is really so satisfying to see, and such will continue to be the case for the remainder of the interview here.
It really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is
Shh! Shut up! This is important.
I'm clear, and so's Paul. We've had the same vision, though we don't agree on many things. If we can make you forget about, for 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever that amount is, the traffic jam, or that you flirted with your wife's girlfriend, or whatever it is that causes angst, Sturm und Angst auf Deutsch, whatever that thing is that gives you headaches, and we can make you forget about the traffic jams or that there are wars, that's magic.
Now, you Neanderthals may have found this to be a stupid point, but to me, this only enlightens further the forward-thinking nature of Gene. I mean, he put traffic down twice. Once for the ride to the concert, and then once for the ride home. Very courteous of the king of Cha-Ching. Very Sturm und Angst of Deutsch.
I'd rather be, and I know it's not as important, but I think profoundly it is much more important.
What?
I'd rather be Disney than Shakespeare.
Okay, I get that.
There's very little meaning about, I mean, we never talked about the secret of life because I have no idea. We're all just passing through. And
Now, Gene. Now, Your Majesty. Come on. We both know there's a secret to life.
you try to make life bearable, entertaining. And that's the wonder of there's no business like show. You know, that's the thing about this
Is that
thing.
Ethel Merman?
I think it's a very good. I'm so impressed.
Now, Billy, take it from me. Take it from a friend. He is less than impressed.
There's this thing about this American, and it's truly an American form, which is it's not kabuki, or kabuki as they say, so desne. And, you know, other forms, classical music and all that, it comes from a place of heaviness where your mind is more engaged. And American stuff, and I use the Marshall McLuhan-esque sense, even though he's Canadian, is it's pablum, it's sugar. It immediately tastes good and immediately gets you that. Doesn't last long, but boy, does it taste good.
I would like to make the argument in our time together that Kiss has greater value than that.
I appreciate it. If that's the byproduct or somebody else does a thesis on the social significance of the panographic art form as exemplified by Mickey Mouse, go for it.
Okay.
So this point right here that Gene just made is ultimately the crux of this entire episode, as you'll come to see. Gene knows better than anybody the merits of his own art. It's the same merit as any other piece of American consumerism slop. It's pablum, it's sugar, it's a quick and fast ride of little substantive claim more than the ride itself. And broken, bati boy, baby-bodied, bald beggar Billy just won't allow that to be the case, lest his other be less than magnificent.
This is a circuitous way to get there, so please bear with me.
Let me break down the sourness in Gene's display here for you. You see, Billy, Gene is one of those classic Jews who can't be bothered with circuity. Please quit belaboring your hero and get to the point.
Kiss, the debut album, Hotter Than Hell, Dressed to Kill, Kiss Alive, Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, Love Gun, Kiss Alive 2, the solo records, Dynasty Unmasked, The Elder, Creatures of the Night, Lick It Up, Animalize, Asylum, and so on. You were there. For all of them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I might be a little bit late to the punchline here. Are we watching a comedy sketch? You realize Lorne and the Boys did this about 30 years ago, right, Billy?
You remember when you were with the Beatles? Sure. That was awesome.
You throw, flammables into the flame, and society starts to change, and new generations come up, and disco comes up. Well, maybe we should do a song, and everybody fell victim. Rod Stewart, the Stones, so that starts to change.
Good again. Sorry to interrupt you, but because it's important to sort of get at what I'm after.
Boy, am I glad to see Billy continuing to interrupt his hero in their genuine conversation of Gene's career in the rearview mirror, because it's not what he's after. What are you after exactly? Is the conversation with your idol as the inaugural podcast episode not enough of what you're after? Shame on you for using Gene to advance your agenda, you ungrateful fanboy.
Where for you do you start to have, where's the first time you go, wait, this isn't going the direction I thought it was
79.
going? 79.
It's nice to see Gene continue to stand up for himself and not give Billy anything more than these curt responses, basically rendering himself impervious to the clickbait that Billy's hoping to attain. Although I like to think that he's asking this question because he needs advice on how to navigate being a failing band leader.
And you could play an ogre fest where there's not a chick within 1,000 yards of that place. With
And they're all singing.
80,000, death metal fans, and they're jumping up and down like biblical locusts going, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. It makes no sense whatsoever. And you think, oh boy,
But at the time,
they're going to hang.
But at the time, the heavy metal fans were not having it.
They were not happy.
Because I was in those basements with people getting stoned, listening to Kiss
And they
complaining.
hated it.
They hated it.
I know. And they hated, and I've written songs with Bob Dylan, that's why I can say the Bob Dylan story. They hated Dylan when he went electric. He was booed right off the stage.
So there's a lot to unravel here, but I ultimately did enjoy the terrible parable of the biblical locust jumping ogre fest of death metal, so I'm not gonna touch it. What pisses me off is the gall to think Kiss going disco is anything comparable to Dylan going electric. The two moments couldn't be more different, honestly. Dylan's move invented a future. Kiss were too busy chasing the future. Sure, both alienated their fan bases, but any real artistic shift does that. The difference is why. Dylan's decision reshaped the course of popular music by intentionally challenging the limits of his movement and its reach. All Kiss did was expose the limits of their own elasticity. By the way, the song that they made together, it's not really that much of a collaborative effort, alright? The song is called Waiting for the Morning Light, and all Bob did was contribute a couple of chords to it. It's really just Gene's song. Anyone could have written these chords. The album that it's on is called Apple, which I mean, look at this cover. I mean, what an asshole.
The time. It's not going to happen.
You're arguably at the time, the biggest band in the world, right?
I can honestly say we were.
Okay. Right?
Yeah.
Massive. In a way that
We changed the business. We had warehouses 24 hours, 3 of them in the valley, shipping T-shirts and everything. We had order forms inside the albums where you can just put cash in, and 24 hours a day sending out T-shirts, and the days went $5 and $10. And before, people were opening up your mail.
Ah, yes, the glory days when you could just put your money into envelopes and send it to me.
not to get into a deep psychological discussion.
No, go ahead.
No, okay, great. Thank you, gave me permission now. We know how the movie ends. We started with how the movie ends.
You don't know how it ends. The beginning, the end is the beginning. The death of a caterpillar is the beginning of the beautiful butterfly. This is, we're in the cocoon stage. You
Okay.
just wait. Rebirth, the phoenix rises
Okay,
from the ashes.
but okay, so 79.
I gotta write this stuff down. This is really good stuff. It sounds good.
We'll get to someone to transcribe everything. Whatever the year, because you face different challenges at different times. But let's take that one, because that's been my focus. 79, 82, somewhere in there.
Well, we had Peter, quote, leave the band for the first time. He, quote, left the band 3 different times.
CNN interview, famously.
Drugs, alcohol, God knows what it was, just a dark cloud.
So, but I'm saying, you standing there, you're in this big band. We don't know what was coming. We already know it now, but I'm saying for you.
By the way, we didn't either.
That's what I'm after. I want you to take me into that location, because people love to talk about success. You know what I mean? It happens to you, I'm sure. Somebody comes up and wants to talk about Love Gun or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, they want to talk about their version of your high moment. But what I often think when people are giving me that conversation is, yeah, but you don't understand all these other things that happened, either to get to Love Gun or what happened after Love Gun, where you're talking me through the grace of God because I was able to sort of navigate this through. And you guys always had a particular toughness. When you're out there, hey, we're the biggest band in the world, you know, this is what we do, there's a swagger to that. But when you're on one knee with the music business, you start getting treated like shit. And you know what that feels like. Or you go on the radio station, they treat you like a has-been or whatever. That first time that you went through that, how did you navigate that? Like, what was it, would you lean on your relationship with Paul? Like, what kind of held you through it?
Oh, William, for shame. You really shouldn't be using your podcast as your emotional dumping ground. Bleeding like a lost little lammy about being on one knee in the music industry, being treated like a has-been by radio show hosts. This is truly why I think Billy is after this particular line of questioning. I think he genuinely needs some advice. Let's see what kind of advice Gene, the king of cha-ching, is willing to bestow upon the lamb that is lost. So,
One of the honest answers is that by that time, there was a lot of money.
was that the sort of stereotypically insensitive advice you were hoping to get, Billy?
Well, I had the loose screw anyway, I'm sure, and you do too, and a lot of people that get up on stage, because you got to be out of your minds to pick this thing, because you're putting all your eggs in a basket, right? So once you have a cushion of money, it's certainly better. Somebody once said, money's not going to make you happy, so you're going to be, if you're a miserable son of a, it's still so much better to be a rich, miserable son of a. That's just.
But were you a rich, miserable son of a bitch at that
I
point?
was certainly rich. I continue to be. Son of a. Sure, there are plenty of people who.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, was there a deeper moment of doubt, or did you
Yes.
just, okay.
Gene continues to keep his answers concise and one-worded, forcing Billy to take what I believe is to be one of the biggest fool's gulps in all of podcasting. Try bringing up money or financials more often, Billy. I'm sure you'll get an inch then, or as I like to call it, a Yiddish mile.
Obviously, I don't know all the inner dynamics of your writing together, but you're great writers because to me, great writers are able to adapt to the times. Most of the Kiss fans focus on the early catalog, but your 80s catalog is held up very well because you guys are great writers.
Thanks, Billy, for your unsolicited and garbage opinion on what makes a great writer. Not being true to oneself, of course, but being able to chase trends and adapt to the times, as is best exemplified by Kiss's 80s catalog.
I could argue the AC/DC or Metallica idea, which is you stay true to the DNA. Well, it's an argument that works well for them. And Iron Maiden, there are some very
can I make
big...
a counter argument as a Kiss fan? I think what makes you guys so fascinating is the good and the not as good. And I'm not saying I want to go listen to your worst song. I'm saying is your journey is what makes the band so fascinating.
Hey, Gene, shh. I know you were trying to explain yourself, but hang on, be quiet. Shut up for a second. Get this. It's your willingness to suck that makes you great.
There are other bands that have stayed true to who they are and have survived, become bigger. And by the way, I don't do that. I go, that's their journey, this is ours.
I personally, I find it a bit boring.
Billy's panties are in a tight wad here, and I like to speculate that this all stems from jealousy. He doesn't actually think it's boring for bands to find success by sticking to who they are. It's the fact that Billy sticking to who he is has only made his bands worse.
The thing that I think makes Kiss interesting, and part of the reason I wanted to talk to you is because I think you guys are going to win in a way that you've never won before over time, because you're able to. It's so hard to say in one sort of sentence, so maybe I'll make the case. But what I'm trying to say is, there's a lot more value in Kiss than even people who've evaluated Kiss to this point understand Kiss's true value. That's kind of what I'm after. Did I make any sense there?
Sure, but I prefer to make dollars. Ow, that's another one.
Whatever it was that Billy said there was just being treated as the setup of a joke that it is. Just for Cha-Ching King Gene to knock it out of the park again. Let's give him another point.
The only thing I care about is a brand new 5-year-old
Gene,
who experiences Kiss or the imagery, even if it's not the music, just somehow gets seduced
I mean, Gene, jokes can go a little far sometimes,
and beguiled by that
My
thing.
son is 8 years old, and when he was 5, I showed him a video of you guys. And I said,
That's Kiss.
That's the magic for me.
Billy, Gene does not want your shit kid as a groupie. He was talking about people's daughters.
It's a
Sure.
deeper kind of thing. So
but
for
I'm a
me, that's
snobby but I'm a snobby musician, and I want to make a snobby musical argument about you.
Okay. Well, that's why everybody's got their own journey.
Right,
room-
but I'm sitting here with one of the architects, so I'm not arguing with
snobbery. Oh,
No.
Gene will not take this insult or your son lying down.
Look, a painter paints a painting, a writer writes a book, or Disney puts out a new cartoon character, and the buyer, the audience, makes of it what they will. Using your words, the snobs like it for snobby reasons. The other ones like it because it's sugar and a tickle. Who cares what it is?
Right.
Once again, Gene is dismissing all of his childish points with the utmost humility.
I believe Kiss will endure because Kiss's value is greater than the material value that you're ascribing. And you're not wrong, but I think my argument will bear out over time. That's my point.
You see, Gene, old chap, when it comes to the merits of the very art that you yourself created, I'd like to claim that you aren't wrong, per se, only that I am more correct, you see.
I tend to be an extreme person, not with chemicals and alcohol and stuff, but with pleasures. Cake, the chicks, all that, just one is, it's like the potato chip stuff. One is never enough.
Don't you get it, Billy? Money and pleasures have always been part of the Kiss story. I often equate the many of my pet orgies to like eating a bag of chips. One lady just isn't enough. You know what I mean, Billy? No, you don't, do you? And not because you're above it, but because you married the only groupie you ever had.
Do you think you guys, musically, we're just talking music shop, 2 musicians, do you think you guys were a great musical band? Let's take the original lineup. Start there. Do you think you guys were a great musical band?
It was a good band. There was certainly,
okay.
there was certainly.
I'm going to argue with you. You guys were a great band.
Well, that's the.
And I'll tell you why if you want to hear it. I don't want to bore you, but I'm saying
okay.
I'm saying you guys were a great band. And you know how I know? Because I heard it enough that I went back through and I thought, okay, of course I know the records, but I went back through and I listened to every song you guys released between whatever, and it got weird. I don't care, the deep cuts, the B-side, whatever, I listened to all of it. And I walked away and thought, they're better than I think they are, and I already think they're really good.
You're very kind, but I do want to, I'm clear about one thing, and that is the experience of something doesn't have to be fair, which is to say it's usually or often not just about music or musicianship or even image. There is a gathering of the tribes. It's cultural. In today's terms,
but we're talking music now.
But
a straight music snob.
But it's bigger because music is a movement. So in today's terms, either you're a Swiftie or you're not.
Hey, you know, Gene, just two musicians talking music shop, huh? Mano a mano. Surely my point can't be asinine if I'm a musician. What? I'm nothing but the modern-day equivalent of a Swiftie?
I don't know. We couldn't shine anybody's shoes.
I think you're wrong.
Okay, well, that's fine. A guy throws, there are guys that throw paint on a canvas and go, okay, give me a few $1 million, and they're happy. And somebody says, oh, that's genius. It's all valid because anybody's perspective.
But your perspective is what really matters to me, right?
So I'm about to answer it as best I can, which is I thought it was a decent, continued to be a good band. Meat and potatoes.
Okay, but
He's literally going out of his way to let you know that this is the best he can answer for you. Yet, it's not good enough, is it, Billy? It's not good enough that your favorite band is not that good, is it?
you take your average rock band, okay?
Yeah.
Just your average good rock band, and you've seen enough of them through the years, okay? You take a song like Ladies' Room, right? It's wasn't a big hit, right? It's not necessarily a song you're going to be remembered for. Those bands wish they could write that fucking song.
Okay.
Was that your song or was that Paul's?
Mine.
Hey, Billy. Maybe somewhere on those cards you keep flopping about, you can find a list of songs that Gene has actually written. So that way, when you make one of your derivative points, you can do so with some confidence.
Well,
That's what I'm saying. That's where you won me over. Of course,
the little subtlety was, I'll meet you in the ladies' room. So it's M-E-E-T, meet you, M-E-A-T as a sexual verb. I'll meet.
This comes from your teaching background, the multiple applications of the word meet.
Language is delicious.
Yes.
I'm reminded of an anti-snob lyric I had. I think it was Burn or one of those awful songs. I've got nasty habits. It's a fine line. So many girls and so little time. When love rears its head, I want to get on your case. I want to put my log in your fireplace. See, now that's poetry where I come from, and the fans hated it.
I mean, Billy, he's literally admitting to writing trash lyrics to deter the very snobbery that you're spewing. You, as a Kiss fan, who is a fan for their musicality, are standing in defiance of the Kiss id, and he's laughing at you for it, right to your bald baby face.
At what point did you figure out, I'm going to use this system, flip it on its head? Because I remember very distinctly, okay, great. I don't know.
Hey, Billy, at what point did you figure out that this episode blows?
You know, girls understood this thing much more than guys. There's a girl who wants to go out to a club, and one of her friends calls her and says, so the club's happening, come on down. So the first thing the girl wants to know is, so what are all the other girls wearing? They go, oh, all the girls are wearing short black outfits. Well, if she's smart, she's going to put on a red short outfit, because the idea is you've got a minimal amount of time to make an impact.
Right.
And that's the only thing we tried to be the band we never saw on stage, not the best band or the worst band, but just to be just immediately...
But you were 50 years ahead of your time in understanding how to exploit the media by its own bias.
That's true. Because we had a record before that in a band called Wicked Lester.
I've heard it. There were lots of flutes, if I remember.
Oh, it's just, you know, pablum.
There's a Wicked Lester version of a Kiss classic, but it's like
Oh,
a
yeah,
flute.
it's She, a song called She, which has flute in it. Yeah, because when you have no idea where you're
I
going.
won't make an argument for Wicked Lester's enduring musical legacy.
And
Well, if it isn't the sickly sweet scent of self-awareness. You know, maybe I've been a little too hard on Billy. Maybe he does have what it takes to turn this interview around in the back half.
we bought that record from Epic. It was going to be on Epic. We bought it back because we didn't want it released. And then said, you know what, this is wrong. We've got to get rid of the guys. They can't play. They don't
You got
look
rid of the
cool.
flautist.
Yeah. Yes, who was a music teacher.
Are you still in touch with the flautist?
He's passed on, unfortunately.
Oh, God bless.
Most of the guys, unfortunately, passed on.
You know what, Billy? I take it back. The pooch is screwed.
And I will tell you, one of the highlights of my life being an Anglophile is we were playing Wembley, and it was kind of a big deal, and everybody came down, and Jimmy came down to check the band out. This was 20 years ago or so. And that night we played well, and Jimmy came up to me afterwards, and he actually said to my face, and I'm still sweating and, you know, still with the stage, my heart's pumping, and I see Jimmy, and I'm looking down, he actually said you could give John Entwistle a run for his money.
Huh?
And I, of course, it's not true.
Let me break down for you just how not true this story is. So, Gene estimates that this story takes place about 20 years ago when they played Wembley Stadium. Well, after doing a little research, Kiss played Wembley Stadium either 26 years ago or 15 years ago. So, I'm going to assume that this conversation took place in 1999, when Entwistle was still alive. Let's take a look at an Entwistle solo from the year 2000. And Gene? The only legitimate way Gene could ever be giving John Entwistle a run for his money in Jimmy Page's eyes is if this conversation happened at the 2010 show, 8 years after John died, and Anglophile Gene Simmons didn't understand the dry British comment on how he could maybe give a run to the money of John's f***ing corpse. Honestly, Gene didn't even learn to play the bass until he sat down with Carol Kay in 2012.
Oh, that was sweet. May I try it?
Sure, you bet. I'm teaching him how to play bass. Isn't that funny? That's hilarious, really. There's a few serious Daryl's difference here. Yeah. No. You gotta do it with the beat, though, Gene. You gotta do it with the beat. Look.
I'm still on my musical snob tip, so bear with me.
By the way, why is that? Like, whatever it is you like is what you like. Why call it snobbery? For whatever reason you like something is its own definitive reason.
Because okay, you've been honest with me, I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I had the poster on the wall, so I've been listening to Kiss since 1976. And I still listen to you guys regularly. You're one of those bands I still, like if I'm having a bad day, I'll put on one of your records because you guys just put me in a good mood. You're always there for me as a band I can lean on to get me like in the right headspace, right? That's a musical appreciation note. But my point is, over time, I got sick of hearing the musical community, not bands, because bands know how important you guys are as a musical band, whether it was Pantera or Dave Grohl. Like everybody knows Kiss is a great band that are musicians. But you kind of get this rap from like fan community, like, you know, whether they like prog or whatever. Like Kiss kind of gets kind of, yeah, they're okay.
But why is that important? Why is that important?
It's important to me.
Why? You like what you like?
No, let me finish. It's important to me because I don't like the world of gatekeepers that tell average fans, just like I was in a basement in Chicago, what is important. It's the same reason they kept you out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame all those years, because those snobs would not say, this is a great band. This is an influential band. This is an important band, culturally, aesthetically, musically.
On the other hand,
I'm not trying to fight your fight for you, but what I'm saying is...
it's okay. That is true. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. On the other hand, I considered buying it.
Through this cringeworthy strikeout of a conversation, here is explicitly made evident the Corgan Manifesto. A young 9-year-old Chicago kid getting picked on by the prog rock elitists, the real gatekeepers of musicality, for having a poster of shitty Kiss on his basement bedroom door. Kiss, the band who make Billy's bad days bearable, who can, at the drop of a needle, turn that bald boomer frown upside down. If Billy needs to be in the right headspace, he leans on Gene. Gene, of course, could not care less about Billy battling his battles for him, for if he sees something truly as an obstacle, then he'll just make it rain on that hoe.
It helps not to be born in America. I really believe that. When you're an immigrant legal, because there's a difference, and America allows you to climb the ladder of success and everything, the one thing that you're astonished by is the shitload of money and opulence you're allowed to have. It's just mind-numbing. So for me, if that's the only reason, if the only thing I get out of it is that it made me, by some standards, very rich, fine.
Okay.
Gene's legal immigrant upbringing has instilled in him a sense of astonishment at American opulence. It is his sole manifest, and Billy is hurt by that.
A different take on my argument. You made all that money because you're in a great band.
Okay. But I would be, by the way, I think I would be maybe not just as happy, but certainly happy if I put out Gangnam Style and those 2 billion people paid for every one of those copies. I wouldn't be sad.
If anything, I'm walking away from this episode today with a newfound comedic respect for Gene Simmons. Because, I mean, my God, just look at his face. You can tell he's trolling.
As I sit here and talk to you, I realize that so much of Kiss's success and its endurance in success is exactly because of your mindset.
I mean, this insufferable bald loser just can't lose an argument, can he? For every time Gene debunks one of Billy's lame points, he's actually secretly reinforcing the very point that Billy is making.
If you had my mindset, it wouldn't have worked. Does it make sense? If you were an arty, farty, weirdo like me, it probably wouldn't have worked. But
not for Kiss.
That's what I'm saying.
At least they can agree on one thing, that Billy would not have been a good fit for Kiss.
Now that it's all over, not that it's over, but now that it's over this way, we can sit here and reminisce, right? And I can sit here and make the argument to one of the architects who's been writing, in my head on some level since 1976, right? It's a rare opportunity.
73.
Well, I wasn't there in the beginning. Sorry, I missed the first couple
Not
records.
my fault.
That's right, Billy. It's not Gene's fault. It's your fault. Your fault that Gene hasn't been in your head since you were 6. Your fault that you keep him in your head to this very day. Your fault that you lean on a band who are a self-professed, processed piece of pablum. Your fault for choosing idols whose ideals are material. Billy, it's your fault for not listening to them when they try to let you in on the truth of it.
If you guys had been loved by the critics from the first moment you set foot on a stage, if all you'd ever heard, and those bands, there's those bands out there where it's like they can literally get on a f***ing plate and some critic will talk about how holy the whole thing was. But you didn't get that.
But it doesn't matter.
Just follow my intellectual ramblings, please. Just indulge me. What I'm trying to say is, part of what makes you great is you guys charted a very American path of like, we're just gonna do what we do. We're gonna tell you what we're doing. We're gonna be totally transparent about it. You're still being transparent about it, right? Yeah. But somehow in all that, makeup on, makeup off, makeup back on, somehow you guys made a lot of great music because you're great songwriters. You were at the right time, at the right place at different times where you created classic music.
That's a very important phrase. Right thing, right time, right place.
Okay, but I'm saying is,
because if you wrote 1979 in the 1800s, nobody would care.
No.
Same song, same vibe, same everything, and they'd hear it, they wouldn't even understand what to do with it.
Throw in the towel, ref! He's beaten! He's battered! He's nothing more than lucky! And ultimately, even then, he's undeserving!
Your value is greater as a musical unit than you get credit for generally. And I believe that will be part of the reason that people will listen to you 50 years from now. Not that you were ahead of your curve and all that stuff. Because now there's 8,000 bands with face paint and, you know what I mean saying?
Quite honestly, I don't even think about it.
I get that feeling, yes.
Has a recorded and edited podcast discussion ever gone so poorly before? It can't be just me. I mean, you guys are seeing what I'm seeing, right?
My wife, who told me about this, it's a good piece of advice. Get a piece of copper, regular copper, not diluted, but full 100% copper, and glue it onto your cell phone, which you hold more than anything else, and it kills, National Institute of Health, it immediately on contact kills all germs on your hand,
really,
including COVID.
Why is there not a KISS logo on that copper? All right, enough of my indulgence.
How come you don't talk about yourself and your writing and your music and all that?
I'm interested.
Don't you have an inferred fiduciary duty to yourself?
I'm in a band called the Smashing Pumpkins still. We're about to play 17,000 people in the O2 Arena here in a couple days. So I know you know what that feels like. Okay.
I'm sorry, but is that some sort of underhanded insult at Gene? The O2 has a capacity of over 20,000 people, so by saying you're only playing to 17,000, are you implying that Gene knows what it feels like to not sell out arenas? First, you call him the architect of snobbery, and now you're laughing at his ticket sales. Thanks for your incredulous indulgence, imbecile.
But again, all personality stuff aside, how did you feel about Peter's drumming at that time? Because you're the bass player. Did you like playing with him? Did you like the swing?
We loved the feeling of it. It made the music seamless. But I have to tell you that Peter, we were all untrained musicians. Peter played by feel and didn't play by verse, bridge, chorus ideas and didn't quite understand that because he was not a songwriter. He didn't play a musical instrument. Drums are percussive, not musical. We had double stacks, Marshall, major, 200 watts.
200 watts, yeah.
We had money. I
That's
had
the
a
Richie
job.
Blackmore amp, by the way.
That's right. Very underrated guitar player.
That's pretty fucking stupid to call Richie Blackmore underrated. He's one of the most celebrated guitarists of his time. He literally wrote Smoke on the Water. Oh, right, but I guess writing the first song that everybody learns on guitar makes you underrated.
So, do you remember this band Static X?
Sure.
Did you ever know Wayne, the singer? Do you remember him?
No.
So, when we were in an indie band in the 80s in Chicago, Wayne had a band called Deep Blue Dream, which I was in briefly. He tried to talk me out of the Pumpkins, say he was a very good singer. They were kind of like the Cult at that point. If you remember, like rock Cult, you know, Rick Rubin's version of the Cult. Wayne was like, look, I'll be the lead singer, you'll be the lead guitar player, we're gonna be huge. He tried to talk me out of the band. I was like, no, I'm gonna stick with my band. But Wayne had a car, like an old car, and he had painted the KISS logo on the hood of the car. So anywhere you would go in Chicago, you'd be driving, oh, there's Wayne's car because they had the KISS logo. And one of my favorite stories about Wayne was he was in the studio recording a song and he was having trouble figuring out the solo. And somebody heard him mumbling to himself. And they, what'd you say? And he said, I was wondering what Ace would do.
My lord, if that isn't one of the most insufferable bootlicker stories I've ever heard. The idea of Wayne Static asking, what would Ace do, akin to a distraught Christian asking, what would Jesus do, is such a funny visual to me. Well, you know what they say, Bill. Speak ill of the dead.
I remember Mike McCready was telling me that when he first started Pearl Jam, when he first started guitars and everything, that he'd listen to Ace and, you know, and in particular, was one of the first solos he learned from a song called She. I said, Mike, I don't know how to tell you this, but that's note for note guitar solo from The Doors. Ace liked it so much, he just reproduced it. He goes, no.
I didn't know that. I learned something.
What? Did you learn that this band of great musicians were only as great as the great musicians that they ripped off? Let's compare these solos really quick.
Did you feel that you had something magical, or was like, this is just our band and we're gonna go forward no matter?
No, we were aware that culturally, because kids of all ages, you get
But
grown
again,
up.
I'm sorry, I'm on my musical rant.
Oh, the musical.
No, but I'm saying, did you feel you had something? Obviously, that lineup produced a lot of music that people still listen to. Did you feel that at the time?
The impact and the success and the culture was a much bigger,
Sure.
had a much bigger impact. There was not a lot of discussion of, you know, that's a decent song, and maybe we should get Rolling Stone to get. Never cared
But I'm
about.
asking you. That's what I'm saying. This
They
is my
were-
indulgence with this interview.
So my sense of some of those tunes are pretty decent material, and I could point to 1,000 bands that were much, much better.
You almost have to pity Gene in the Sisyphean task that's been lumped upon him, being left by his handler alone with the most pretentious of his protégés, stuck in some sort of snobbery limbo, where the same question is asked over and over again, and no answer is good enough to quell the indulgences of the bald beast before him.
I would say to any young person watching that if you hear on the street, Kiss, they're okay, it's like that's the wrong take. Kiss is a great band for a variety of reasons, and primarily among them, for me, is musical.
Well, it's appreciated, but it seems to continue.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was a deflated Billy's last stand. There's an awkward jump cut right after Gene says,
It seems to continue.
that leads me to believe there was some sort of unseen caterwauling a la Corgan, because his impotent indulgences divulged nothing other than the fact that Billy was bullied by prog rock elitists, and rightfully so.
He didn't like me when we met each other.
Does he like you now?
Sure. You sort of, I think we both have this sort of like the brother that we never had.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you agree. I mean, Cain and Abel didn't get along very well, but they were brothers.
Hey, Gene, I think saying that Cain and Abel didn't get along very well is putting it a little bit mildly.
Like when you did the reality show, was it true that he was like not happy about
He
it?
hated it.
Yeah.
And I offered him, take over a year, call it the Paul Stanley Family Jewels. You know, I've got an eight-season commitment, 167 episodes. Take over a year, do it. He hated it. He didn't agree with he wanted to be more English, like we just play guitar, we don't do the other stuff. And I had a different point of view. I think movies and licensing, he was not as much of a fan of toys, games, licensing, and merchandising.
I guess it's refreshing to see somebody in Gene's life with a little bit of integrity. Definitely the Abel to your Cain is Paul.
I'd like to think he knew and continues to know stuff I don't, and vice versa.
Yeah, I have that with Jimmy Chamberlain, the Pumpkin drummer. It's like...
You don't have to say the Pumpkin drummer to me.
Okay.
Yeah, me and Jim, we go way back. We get together every other weekend to laugh at how shitty Kiss is.
Anybody who has an unkind word to say about Ringo and the Beatles is insane.
I'm there, and I have Ringo. How lucky am I? I have Ringo when I had my birthday, who sent me a video, said, all right, Gene, happy birthday. I'm going, oh.
Okay, this is our big finish.
All right, guys, it's time for the big finale.
You may remember this, probably not. Reunion show, Tiger Stadium, 1996, right? Is that accurate? You don't remember. You were there, it was sold out.
95.
Okay. Doc McGee was your manager.
Yeah.
Right. Alice in Chains was opening.
Sad story. It was going to be Stone Temple Pilots, and Weiland and I had a discussion, and I said, this is your chance. It's going to be a lot of media. The thing sold out in 40 minutes. You guys open up, and but I want you to be straight. You got to promise me. Gene, I promise, you know, like all addicts, I promise. Then he died.
What? What the fuck?
And then I saw Lane backstage. We got Alice in Chains because we love the band. And before he went up on stage, he said, Lane, this is your chance. I want you to be straight and all that stuff. And shortly thereafter, he died.
Unbelievable. Anyway, here's my story.
And so why don't you recognize that magic that affects everybody in yourself to keep yourself alive? What is that? That goes with Cobain and other people.
Well,
the effect.
When I have you back some other time, we should talk about that. That would be a great subject to
I
delve
wrote a
into.
book called 27 that's about the 27
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mind-blowing. All these super talented and lucky people who never realized the amazing impact they had just to keep themselves alive.
Yeah, it hurts my heart for my generation when I think of all the people that would still be here making music.
I know.
It's
just keeping their families happy.
How about just being alive? Yeah? Okay.
My story.
It's sad to see Billy's calloused indifference when it comes to reflecting on his betters. Leave that retrospection shit to the birds. I have a story to tell. And sure, it was the story you wanted me to tell at the very start of this podcast, but I had to go through all my note cards first, ineffectively arguing against you the merit of your own art that you yourself created, because I am only ever acting as the selfish and self-important 9-year-old Kiss fan who was wronged. I've spent my entire life trying to get back at those prog rockers who made fun of me. Now listen to my story.
So I'm a big rock star, and I'm seeing Kiss at the big reunion show, Tiger Stadium, sold out in 40 minutes, according to Gene. And of course, I want to know where I'm going to watch the show from. So I talk to somebody, and they say, no stage access, none.
It's true.
No stage access. I say, well, you can go out to front of house and watch the show. I said, I'm not going through that f***ing crowd. Me? Like me, 95, 96 me? Like, right? No way. That crowd's gonna kill me.
No, they would, but go ahead.
Where can I watch from? Well, maybe you could stand in front of the stage. Well, I'm gonna be like this all night. I don't know. I want to watch it like that. So I'm literally, you guys are about to go on. It's like maybe 10 minutes to showtime. And I'm literally standing by myself, and I could see the ramp up to the side of the stage, your side. And Doc McGee comes up and goes, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm just trying to figure out where I'm gonna watch the show from. He goes, come with me. He walks me up on the side of the stage where your bass tech is. He says, stand here, okay? There's nobody on the fucking stage except you guys, your techs, and me, okay? Now, I know it must have come from the band, nobody on the stage, at least that's what I guessed. True. So you do your bit with the blood and the fire and the da-da-da, and you're coming over to take your break. You got a towel, you're wiping yourself down. And you know, when you're in full gimmick, as we would say in wrestling, yeah, you're a little wound up, right? And you're imposing, you got the boots on, you're a big guy already, and here you come, and I'm standing there, and I'm thinking, is he gonna see me and get pissed off? Now, we had met, of course, many times, but I'm somewhere I'm not supposed to be. And what am I gonna do, tell you in the middle of the show, well, Doc said it was okay. So you're wiping yourself down, and I see you go, I'm thinking, oh, here it comes, he's gonna get mad. You go, Billy? And you waved me over, and you said, are you enjoying the show? And I said, yes, it's amazing. He said, great, have a good time. So I, of all the Kiss fans in the f***ing goddamn world, got to be on stage with you guys during that night. What a great f***ing night. Because you're a great f***ing band, and I'm proud to know you.
Well, you're very nice. But for me, the most important thing is, hopefully they liked it, because your bosses and my bosses buy tickets, and it's all for them. And without them, we'd be asking the next person in line, would you like some fries with that?
To be honest, I don't know how many people were there, 60,000 people. I didn't give a shit about any of them. All I know is, I'm being straight up with you, okay? God bless Kiss World, God bless the band, everything. All I know is, if you could have told me that the kid looking at that poster at 10 years old on the back of the wall
I understand.
would be standing watching you guys on stage as an invited guest.
I understand.
And have you come over and welcome me. You know who I am, right? There's that little kid in all of us. That's a great fucking moment. So thank you for that.
How about $5?
No, you don't get shit from me.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The epic yarn that Billy brought Gene on here to tell was a story about him Karening his way to getting to be the only one on stage watching Kiss perform. You felt too entitled as a rock star to have to crane your neck to watch your favorite band perform. You felt too entitled as a rock star to be in the pit with a crowd full of loving Kiss fans, the entire Kiss army at your back, since that's what they're actually called, and not Kiss World, you absolute f***ing poser. You felt too entitled as a rock star to show any empathy toward the record executives and their families' enjoyment of the show, the people who single-handedly provide you with even the smallest whiff from the sphincter of opportunity. You feel too entitled to even give Gene a measly $5, a more than fair asking price for the almost 6 decades of continual entertainment and support for being the band you can rely on more than any other when you're having a bad day. Newsflash, William. You weren't bullied because you liked Kiss. You were bullied because of how you made everybody else feel when the subject of Kiss came up. You were bullied for taking something that was moderately fine and riding it until the wheels fell off. And now you remain the fractured shell of a man who exists solely as a vessel of retribution for the well-earned tears you shed in your youth. And that's the real tragedy, Billy. That in almost 50 years, you never learned that loving something loudly is not going to be the same as understanding it deeply. I'm really excited to see how your fatherless fragility blows up in your face on the next episode. Goodbye, and good night.